Hey everyone, Combo here, back with another Empires and Puzzles video, and today I am going to do a video on setting up my defense for the next raid tournament. I had quite a few of you actually comment on some of my videos asking me to do a video like this, so we're going to take a look at the top 10 defense the last time this raid tournament happened, which is a 5-star buff booster raid tournament with no greens. Before we get started, if you do enjoy this video or find it helpful, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and turn that notification bell on so you can be alerted of when I drop new content. So a lot has changed in the game since the last time we had a 5-star buff booster raid tournament with no greens. It was actually in September of 2024. So that was about 7 months ago. We've had quite a few new heroes obviously come into the game. So this list here of the top 10 defenses is going to be a little outdated, but if you don't have any better options, or if you're more of a mid-level player, then these options would likely be good for you if you do have them. I think Nautica and Grimsteel especially are still solid options, especially considering the fact that you can't use greens against them. But somebody who you are likely going to be going up against quite often in this raid tournament is going to be Fergus, and that's who I'm going to have at my tank. I'm probably going to have at least 2 or 3 or maybe even a full blue mono team actually. I do have enough legendary troops where I could actually have a full blue mono team with everyone having a matching legendary troop if I choose the correct heroes. So some other options here are Costume Dia-chan if you have her. She's always going to be a great option for a tank. Moonbell is another option it looks like was on here. Carta was on here. I don't think I would use Hathor. I'm actually surprised that Hathor was at tank considering it was no greens. That whole defense honestly on that middle right side over there is a little interesting with 2 Zhuzhlings. They've got Lemonwood over on the left side. Usually people have him on the right wing. And then Mistra, I think that is on the right wing. So quite a few slow speed level heroes. And not a lot of heroes besides Hathor that really actually give buffs to anybody. And of course the minions from Zhuzhling are going to give counterattack. That person likely just went 25-0 against the toughest teams, I'm guessing. But you definitely want to go heavy on your blues on your defense. So let's go take a look at options that I have and some other ones that I may include that are not blues. So I am definitely going to be having Fergus at tank, probably Glass Richard on one of the flanks. I probably will not put Grimsteel in there because I've only got one Paladin / Rogue legendary troop and Richard's going to get that other one. Thalassa and Nautica are definitely 2 good options for me to add as well. I've only got Hrothgar single limit broken, so I probably would not put him in there, although he would be a good option if you have him double limit broken. Sable is another option I may put in there also to have a reviver. As far as heroes that actually give buffs though, so Richard is an interesting one because of his masterclass talents. So when he gets hit by regular damage or by special skill damage, he has a 50% chance to add plus 25% defense for 2 turns and will recover 10% health for him and his nearby allies. But that 25% defense acts as a buff, and 50% chance is pretty good. If you have him on one of the flanks, then chances are tiles are going to get hit up against him, and whether they are tiles that the enemy has heroes of or not does not matter. Even if it's just ones for damage going up against him, it's still going to have that 50% chance to activate that superior masterclass talent, so that's going to act as an extra healer also. And then Nautica adds 2 buffs to his nearby allies and then 1 buff to him. So obviously he's going to increase health for everybody, and then he's going to instantly increase the mana for his nearby allies, but they're also going to get plus 40% mana generation for the nearby allies, and then Nautica and his nearby allies get that plus 50% critical chance for 4 turns. So I'm definitely going to have him in there because that's going to give 2 buffs to Fergus's Mega Minion. As far as Thalassa, the buff that she would give are that all allies are immune to new status effect ailments for 3 turns. That would be for the first and second charge. I do like the Cleric version of her better. That's a little bit better for defense than the Sorcerer version because she has the chance to resist negative mana effects and effects that prevent the use of special skills. So when I did her emblem path, I did a defense path for her on the Cleric version. Even though the special skill for the Sorcerer version is slightly better, I like the Cleric version better. All right, let's take a look at some of my other heroes that I may consider putting on my defense, I'm pretty much going to have 3 blues in the middle with Richard, Fergus, and Nautica. Medea and Dia-chan would be ones that I would consider because of their fast mana speed and just overall usefulness on a defense. But Dia-chan's going to be out because if I had her, she would either be at a tank or a flank, and I've already got those positions covered. Medea could definitely be an option for a wing, though. Von Rothbert's another one that could be an option for a wing, but I probably won't go with him. I usually like to have fast mana speed on the wings, and neither one of those two, Medea or Von Rothbert, add any buffs to my allies, so I'm probably going to stay away from them. Taking a look at my holy heroes, Astrid is a pretty obvious choice that I may have in there also. She does add a buff where all allies have a plus 20% chance to drop any received damage to 1 for 3 turns. She's going to recover health for everybody, and she's a reviver also, so she's definitely very useful, and she's very useful for any enemies that try to come up against me that have any of those dancing effects because of the quick tempo ballad and the quick tempo dance. All ballads and dances only last 1 turn while she's alive in a battle. And also, I didn't mention this yet, but remember that the ether powers count as a buff. So all of these ether powers that these heroes are going to have for the first 6 turns, if you have them at level 90, they are going to get those for the first 6 turns. So that's definitely something you want to consider in making sure you try to have level 90 double limit broken heroes on your team. As far as other yellows that I would consider, if I wanted to go heavy mega minion base, I could put Rosalind and Shimmer Scale. Shimmer Scale doesn't add any buffs. Rosalind does have the stack that she gives where all damage all allies receive is reduced by -5% at a max of 10 stacks. And she has that mega minion that safely cleanses each turn as well. So she's pretty useful there. But for this style of a raid tournament, I probably would not use her or Shimmer Scale together. I really don't have anybody else from a yellow perspective other than Astrid that I would consider putting on this defense for this tournament. Taking a look at my reds, as far as buff boosting reds, I really don't have anybody, honestly, other than Yukoden, who is more of a flank or tank type of hero because of the fact that he adds a buff to 3 allies, himself and nearby allies, with the heal over time factor and the immunity to buff dispels and reallocations for 3 turns. So remember that heal over time does count as a buff. So if you have those types of heroes, then that's going to be pretty helpful also. All right, so we've taken a look at all of my colors. Let's actually put together this defense now. All right, so we said I wanted to have Richard on one of the flanks, and I'm going to put him at this flank position because I want to have Nautica on the other side so that if Nautica does go off, then there's going to be a potential for Fergus to go off in the same turn. So let's set him up there, and then I think I want to have Astrid over here. I may put Sable over here. We'll put this as a placeholder for now, and then we need Nautica and Fergus. So Fergus and Nautica, and I want to make sure that I've got the monk troop for him. Perfect, because I do have both the sorcerer primary and monk primary one. And then for Sable, I've got both of these over here also. So let's change that to the cleric version one so that we are more defense based with their troop. And if you have the glass version of Richard, I do recommend having the glass version on defense rather than the toon version so that he'll have the opportunity to potentially reflect ailments. But also if your enemies that are going up against you are using any types of counterattack heroes, then if you have the toon version, then it's very easy to do a lot of damage to him because of those counterattacks. So obviously the glass version bypasses counterattacks. All right, so I think I've decided that I don't have enough attackers here. Obviously, the attacks from the end of each turn are going to go up because of the buff booster, and that's really something that you want to take into consideration, but I don't have enough attacking specials. Richard is really the only attacking special that I do have in here, so I am going to put somebody else in here in place of Sable, and I'm going to move Nautica so that Nautica and Astrid are not next to each other. So let's first switch Richard and Nautica and get Sable out of here. So I'm going to put Richard on this side, and then we're going to put Nautica on the right flank. And then I think I want to put Medea here on my defense. She does not add any buffs, but she's going to attack 3 and give shifting mindless attack to 1. She also decreases healing for 3 enemies as well, with her first charge by minus 45%, and then her second charge deals 450% damage to 3, shifting Miles' attack to 1, and then minus 85% decrease for any healing for 4 turns. So she is a good defensive attacker in my opinion, and somebody that I'm going to put on this raid tournament defense. So I think that this is what I am going to roll with. I will have the ability to get 4 buffs on Fergus between the 2 that Nautica add, the one that Richard adds, and the one that Astrid adds. Astrid and Richard will only have the ability to get 2 buffs, Nautica only 1, and then Medea will have the opportunity to get 2 buffs also. Or actually, rather, 3 buffs on Medea. If you don't have Fergus or a good blue tank, and you do have Costume Dia-chan, we talked about her earlier when we were looking at the top 10 defenses, and something that I forgot to mention is the fact that the minions that she give obviously steal buffs, so that's something that you want to take into consideration, because that's obviously going to, 1, make it so that the opponent going up against you removes those buffs, so it's almost like a dispeller, but obviously you're getting those buffs instead so that your attacks are higher. So definitely something worth taking into consideration for sure. This is the first time that I've done this type of video with setting up my raid tournament defense, so let me know if you all like this format as far as bringing up the top 10 defenses from the last time that it was ran. Again, I know it was from like 9 months ago, or rather 7 months ago, but at least you get a good idea of the types of heroes that you see in the top 10 defenses. But if you want to see something different in the formatting of how I do this video for next time, definitely drop a comment down below, or if you loved it, then let me know also. But that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it or found it helpful, and if you did, hit that like button, make sure you're sub to my channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.